Marjorie Greene is out there warning the Republicans and Donald Trump that they are going to suffer in terms of the midterms if they don't fight against this perception that they are serving the elites of society, the rich, rather than average Americans. I mean, the issue for that is that they have always served the elites. That's the whole point. They are themselves all the elites. Marge is not at the point in her evolution where she can admit some of these more foundational truths. But in terms of the strategy, she is coming out and telling them, people think that you guys don't get how much people are hurting and it could be bad for you. And I mean, she's not wrong. Like hell, that's why the Democrats lost in 2024 for better or for worse, and things have gotten worse since then. So it seems like pretty good advice. She did an interview with Semafor where she said, I can't see into the future, but I see Republicans losing the House if Americans are continuing to go paycheck to paycheck. They'll definitely be going into the midterms looking through the lens of their bank account, which I think is definitely true. And I will say we have been doing a lot of coverage throughout the year, not only of how people are doing, but how things are getting worse. And we've been critiquing the specific moves that are being made by the Republicans to make things worse. And what Marge is doing here is like kind of what she's been doing as she attempts to rebrand herself over the past couple of months. She is pointing out something that is true, but being like a little bit vague about it in a way that I think protects the fifis of some in the MAGA movement. She's not gonna point out that like, hey, the tariffs are really screwing over people. Donald Trump, the individual person who, because of his specific inability to understand how tariffs work, continues to push for them as a solution to every problem. And they have had not only the predictable, but the predicted effects on people's paychecks. Like she's not gonna go to that length in terms of the criticism. She's just gonna point out that people care about their bank account. And when you look into that, which we have repeatedly, yeah, it's not exactly going well for a lot of people out there across a wide variety of different areas. So for instance, health insurance premiums are set to jump in 2026 with costs rising twice as fast as inflation. Remember that combining with that, of course, you have the Republicans choosing to kill the healthcare subsidies under the ACA. Now, Marjorie Greene is like kind of implying that she would be okay with continuing those. So that's good. That's good. I mean, she could be a little bit more aggressive against the specific Republicans like Mike Johnson and Donald Trump, who don't really seem to be that interested in continuing those. Like if she thinks that it's wrong for people to be screwed over in terms of the affordability of their health insurance, and strategically it's gonna hurt the Republicans, like this interview with Semafor is something, I suppose, but could you bring the same level of fire to this fight that you bring to like, stalking mass shooting survivors through the streets of DC? I'm just saying, I've seen you go harder, Marjorie Greene. Or for instance, we could talk about grocery prices. So you take a look at what Americans think about grocery prices compared to a year ago. Do you think that they are harder to afford? That's the orange bars there. And you can see that the general public, 47% say that things are, that they're harder to afford. Democrats are slightly more likely to agree with that. Independents are even more likely to agree with that. And that I think is actually fascinating. I mean, you would think, but feel free to leave that up actually, because I'm gonna reference it again. Sorry, thank you, TD. So look, a lot of people are just gonna answer that honestly, right? I mean, the prices are more expensive, so they're just answering it. But you can always expect in a poll like that there's gonna be kind of like a partisan effect, right? I mean, there's a reason that Republicans are way less likely to answer it. It ain't that they have a different experience when they walk into the HEB or whatever. It's that they don't want to admit that things are generally worse. So then why is it that independents recognize it more than the Democrats? That is a very bad sign for the Republicans. And again, I would say, grocery prices are going up for a variety. Oh, feel free, you can come back to me, sorry. So grocery prices are going up for a variety of different reasons. Some of them are within the control of the administration. Some are not, at least in the short term. But like, again, the tariffs aren't exactly helping. And I would also say one of the things contributing to this is the mass deportation that the Republicans are pursuing. And again, not only predictable, but predicted effects of that. And Marjorie Greene was like a big booster of that. So I'm just saying, like, again, I understand that the act I'm supposed to put on right now is, hey, you have a Republican who's distancing herself from the regime. Embrace her. Pretend that everything she's saying is not only awesome, but it's as awesome as it could possibly be, and forget everything that she ever said or stood for in the past. But like, but you were okay with the things being done that led us to this situation. I guess it's good that you're a little bit less comfortable with the end result of it, but like you could also represent your culpability, I suppose. You could acknowledge it. You could take responsibility for it, I should say. Anyway, not necessarily ready to do that. Although I do agree with her, I think that she's right. And she is being far more responsible than other Republicans, not just in terms of how she like addresses the American people, but also it's sort of their job to make sure that their party continues to win. We always critique the Democrats when they just cruise full speed down roads that seem destined to send them right off the edge of a political cliff. And so it's good to see people being responsible and also acknowledging reality, even if only in bits and pieces, little shards of reality. Now, in terms of her evolution, she says, everyone keeps saying I've changed, and I'm saying, no, I haven't changed. I'm staying focused on America first, and I'm urging my party to get back to America first. So, look, that is kind of a change though, right? I don't mean that she wouldn't have said before that she was for America first. She definitely would have said that. She probably would have crumpled if you'd asked her to actually explain what that means and also understand the historic context of other movements that have used it or whatever, but whatever, we'll move on from that. But she is now, when she identifies who she's with, it's that abstract movement. It's not as much Donald Trump. Now, again, she is passing up tons of opportunities to attack Donald Trump. One, because I think that she's like dipping her toe in the waters of, are we ready to start looking ahead to after Donald Trump? And I think that she rightly understands that no, the right is not ready to move on from that. I'm not sure they're gonna be ready to move on from that years after he's died. So actually attacking Donald Trump, even if attacking Donald Trump would, I think, bolster the sort of independent angle that you're trying to pitch for yourself, and I think would provide a lot more support for the arguments you're making. She's not ready to do it. Instead, it's about America first, something that Donald Trump is claiming now, but once he passes, lots of Republicans are gonna try to claim to be the avatar for that. And she seems to be wanting to pitch herself as that person now. Again, the issue is that, like, well, what does it actually mean? How, like, you have an issue with Donald Trump and America first now, okay, or his attachment to it. But like, in his first term, was he America first? The things that he was pushing for, were they America first? And why America first? Like, you were just talking about the American people. Why can't it be Americans first, like the masses? Because then you know that Donald Trump has never been in favor of regular people. Like, it's easy to critique the effect that he's had on the economy in the second term, I guess. But I remember what happened in the first term. I remember economically what happened near the end there. I remember him blowing up the deficits year after year. Like, do you remember that? You were around, right? You were posting a lot on Facebook. I know that you saw some of that news.